We'll get to Genesis in just a moment. We just started the topic here. We want to finish. So let's read, if you please, verse 3. Malachi chapter 1 and 3.
Malachi 1 and 3.
Oh, yes, I didn't answer the question, did I? Which was, it says, I have loved thee. I have loved you, right? Now, to answer that question, it's this. What love did the Lord have? Yes, sir. No. All love is conditional. All love is conditional. Oh, that unconditional force of manure comes from the world. Oh, I got unconditional for you, baby. No. Mine is conditional. Mine is conditional. And the Father, his love is conditional too. It is. He's got unconditional. You've heard a Christian church say that for years, and that's why we're born. That's why it's so nice. Even in a marriage, you can't have unconditional love. Well, what my husband does, and he's a fool. Simple as that. Wow. Just for those of you, just send me the emails. I'll take the emails and I'll deal with it down the road. Go ahead, sir.
Grace and peace, sir. Psalm 103.
Let's go.
Psalm 103, verse 13.
Psalm 103, verse 13.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Psalm 103.
Book of Psalms 103 and 14.
13.
Like as a father pitieth his children, so the Lord pitieth them that fear him. For he knoweth our frame.
You know what?
Our frame. He remembereth that we are dust.
Go on.
As for man, his days are as grass.
All right, let's leave it there. Go.
And also Revelation 3 and 19.
Revelation 3 and 19, yes, sir. Let's go to that one.
Revelation 3 and 19.
Mm-hmm.
As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten.
Go on.
Be zealous, therefore.
What?
Be zealous, therefore,
Go on.
and repent.
And repent. See? So that's very important that we keep that in mind. Now, there's something I want us to quickly deal with that, because this will segue into our teaching with Abraham. So it will work, even though, right. So in a sense, he had a love for Esau. The Bible said he hated him. Yes, he hated him. But he had a love for him. How do we know it? How do we know? Say again? Why did you say that? I'll call you by your Hebrew name. Johanna, why did you say that? You read it? All right, well, that's it. So that's what he gave him land. Go back to Genesis 27, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Genesis 27. So, Johanna number 2 said that his name is Johanna. His name is John. So, okay, I'm on according by his Hebrew. So, watch this now. So, back to 27, Genesis 27. Now, watch what it says in verse 39. Now, the Most High had to have loved him to even have allowed this to happen. Even though this love is limited. It's not an inexhaustible love. He gave Israel an inexhaustible love. That's why when Israel went a harloting and a whoring and all of this, he still loved Israel through all of that mess. That wasn't unconditional. But watch this. Let's go back and read 39. Read what it said.
Genesis 27 and 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, Thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
That's it. That's the land. He gave him the earth. He said, you will dwell in all the earth. You will have it. But you'll have it conditionally. What is the condition? Go on.
And of the dew of heaven from above.
Go on.
And by the sword shall
That is the condition. You will have the land, even though it will be temporary. But it will be because of violence. That's why he is the most violent man on the earth.
Mhm.
No one is more violent than the white man. He is the man that breaks every promise. Never believe him. But our people have been told, I love him. Master, he good to me. Yeah, but we love all of it. I watched a documentary just the other day, only back in the 70s. And it appalled me because there were some politicians who still had slaves. It appalled me. Why? Because when they went down to his plantation, that the plantation huts were there, and black people were still living there, and they said, well, he let us live here free. Live what? In a slave quarters? Can you imagine the memories of all of the history of your family has gone through that place? And let me drop that. So let's go back real quick. So now it gives us a whole new understanding of Malachi chapter 1 and 2. Read.
Malachi 1 and 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord.
Go on.
Yet ye said, wherein hast thou loved us?
Go on.
Was not Esau Jacob's brother?
Go on.
Saith the Lord.
Go on.
Yet I love Jacob.
I love Jacob. So he lets us know that he loved Jacob, but his actions proven that he did have some kind of love for Esau, because Esau would not have got the things that Esau received. And notice, he gets away with killing the anointed of God. But then we read verse 3.
Malachi 1 and 3. And I hated Esau.
And he hated Esau. Why does he say that? Because he knew the future of Esau, and he knew the corruption of Esau. Read.
And laid his mountains and his heritage waste.
Go on.
For the dragon of the wilderness.
Read.
Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return.
We will return. See, that goes back to Ezekiel chapter 35, right? We just read earlier one. Go on. All right, let me leave that. Let's go to Genesis. Where did we leave off from Genesis? Where did we leave up in Genesis? You see, good students would have said blah, blah, blah. Yes, sir. Let's go.
Genesis 22 and 13. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked.
We're going to begin at 15. Go on.
Genesis 23 and 15. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time.
The second time. Go on.
And said, by myself have I sworn, saith the Lord.
Go on.
But because thou hast done this thing.
Now, why did he say, by myself have I sworn, said the Lord? Why did he say that? Why did he say that? Because that's not something that you just say. There's a reason why he said that. Psalm 105. Real quick.
Yeah.
Begin reading, if you please. Begin reading, if you please, verse. Yeah, begin reading at verse 7 on down. And Isaiah 5 for me, he said, swore by no other so that's an Isaiah.
Psalms 105 and 7. He is the Lord our Yahweh.
Go on.
His judgments are in all the earth.
Are where?
Are in all the earth.
His judgments are in all the earth. Go on.
He has remembered his.
And by the way, you'll notice it doesn't, when it's speaking about the entire earth, it never uses the word world. You notice that? Especially in Psalm, it always uses the word earth. And so he says, he is the Lord, our God. His judgments are in all the earth. Read.
He has remembered his covenant forever.
Forever. So he never forgot his covenant. Go on.
The word which he commanded to 1,000 generations.
Now that 1,000 generations is us. Go on.
Which covenant he made with Abraham.
There it is. He made what?
With Abraham.
He made it with Abraham. Read.
And his oath unto Isaac.
And the oath, the covenant was made with Abraham. The oath now was made with Isaac. You see that? Yes, sir.
Grace and peace is the book of Isaiah 45, verse 23.
Let's go. Keep Psalms. Don't leave it. Isaiah 43.
23, sir.
23. Thank you. 23 and verse.
Or 45, verse 23. 45, verse 23.
So I wasn't. Let's read.
Isaiah 45 and 23. I have sworn by myself, the word is gone out of my mouth in righteousness.
Now, why does it make that indelible statement? It makes it because I have sworn by myself. Now, it says that because who greater is there that he can swear by? But watch this. Read.
Is going out of my mouth in righteousness and shall not return.
He shall not return. Go on.
That unto me every knee shall bow and every tongue shall swear.
That's a good one. That's not the one, but yes.
Grace and peace, sir. Also Hebrews chapter 6, verse 13.
Hebrews chapter 6, verse 13. Let's go there. Hebrews chapter 6, 13. Let's go.
Hebrews 6 and 13. But when Yahweh made promise to Abraham,
Go on.
because he could swear by no greater,
That's the one. Go
he
on.
swore by
He
himself.
swore by himself. Because he is greater than all. And there is none higher than him. For when God made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself. See? So there's no authority in heaven or in earth that's above him. All right? All right. Let's go back to Psalms. Let's pick up where we left off. Let's read 9 again. Psalms 105 and 9.
Psalms 105 and 9.
Go on.
Which covenant he made with Abraham and his oath unto Isaac.
Unto who?
Oath unto Isaac.
Unto Isaac. Go on.
And confirmed the same unto Jacob.
And confirm the same. Go on.
For Jacob for a law.
So now, through Jacob would come the laws, statutes, and commandments. See that? And again, and it says,
and to Israel for an everlasting covenant.
And to Israel for an everlasting covenant.
Come.
See that? Now, what you're going to understand here is what you're reading here ties into Psalms 147. Because you see where it says, confirm the same unto Jacob for a law and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. We've got to go to Psalm 147 at this point. Gone? And verse 19. Let's go.
Psalm 147, 19.
Read.
He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
Unto who?
Unto Israel.
Unto Israel. Go on.
he has not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them.
They have what?
They have not known them.
They have not known them. Go on.
Praise ye the Lord.
Praise ye the Most High.
Amen.
All right, so let's go back to Genesis, if you please. Go back to Genesis. Let's continue where we left off.
The book of Genesis 22 and 15. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord.
Go on.
But because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son,
Go on.
that in blessing I will bless thee,
Go on.
and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed,
Go on.
as the stars of the heaven.
As what?
As the stars of the heaven.
Now remember, this has a double connotation. A double connotation. A double connotation. What is the double connotation here? Brothers. What is the double connotation? All right. Yes, sure. Switch the heating off, and I want you to change your position. Yes, sir.
Grace and peace. Israel is also considered the stars.
Right. But what else is Israel?
A world without end.
The world without end. Yes. So Israel is the many stars, but Israel also. In my Father's house there are many mansions. And why? Because Israel has to. My father, remember the story. The story is that when a son finds a wife, he goes back and he tells his father. Now, because traditionally our fathers always arranged the marriages, a son could not bring in a woman unless he had a place to bring her. She had to have a place. So what did the son do? Traditionally, the son built an extension to the father's house. You see? And so when he brings his bride, he's bringing his bride to the father's house, but there's a quarters, there's a wing all to himself. Now, imagine, futuristically, so to speak, in the kingdom, Yahushua will have his great powers. Those who are given great positions will attach themselves to him. And all of Jerusalem will be a place of many mansions. Why? Because we will be there. We will be many. And so we will be covered together. Now remember, the scripture also tells us that in Jerusalem, in the kingdom age, for those of you who say, well, we're not going to have no marriage in the kingdom. Then why did it say in the kingdom age that there will be children playing in the street? Oh, I know what you're saying. These are the little children who died as babies, and he brought them back to life, and now they're in heaven as little children. And they're going to run. Now, that's not Christianity. That's Cuban nonsense. The children will be born in the kingdom. They will play in the streets, because the streets will be alive and buzzing with children and our people. So when we go back now and we read that, it says that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. Read.
And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies.
Of all the enemies that are about Israel, we will possess them. Now the word possess, again, is a word that you mustn't miss. It's a simple word, but we read over it. Please give me the dictionary meaning of the word possession. quick as you can, if you please. Anyone? Give me what you got. Yes, Rebecca, go ahead.
Having as belonging to one to own.
As belonging to one to own. Go on.
This one, the part that says other being spirit, especially
We don't want that. That's right. Somebody give me another one. Anyone? Plenty of one. Anything else? You got something? Let me hear.
The state of having, owning, or controlling something.
Come on. Owning or controlling something. Good. So what does that tell you? It says, let me read it in case anyone's forgotten what this is all about. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies, more than one. So that means, all right, Isaiah chapter 14, quickly, let's go. Let's get ourselves back. Isaiah chapter 14. Is that the one? Yes. We're going to read from verse 2. Let's read.
Isaiah 14 and 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them.
Well, hold it. Did I see the word possess?
Con,
There's the word possess. Then go on.
in the land of the Lord for servants.
For what?
For servants.
They're going to be slaves. That's just a sweet way of putting it. But the scripture is telling you that as we were slaves to them, so they shall be slaves to us.
Con.
And as we read, it says, read.
And handmaids,
Go on.
and they shall take them captive,
Go on.
whose captive they were.
See, we will take captive the ones that were captive, that held us as captives. Go on.
And they shall rule over their oppressors.
And now it says, we shall rule over our oppressors.
Con.
See that? Read on.
And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow.
So we will have rest from all of our tormentors. Go on.
And from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve.
Go on.
That thou shalt take up this proverb against
See, this probe, take it up, go on.
against the king of Babylon.
Now remember, against the king of Babylon. Why would it say that? Because we are now in the land where the king of Babylon now dwells. Because remember, America is called spiritual Babylon. In fact, in the book of Revelation it says mystery Babylon, the great. Read on.
Against the king of Babylon, and say, how has the oppressor ceased?
How has what?
The oppressor ceased,
Go on.
the golden city ceased.
Now let's go back. Go back now. Now let's read again verse 17.
Genesis 22 and 17.
Read.
That in blessing I will bless thee,
Go on.
and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed,
Go on.
as the stars of heaven,
Go on.
and as the sand which is upon the seashore,
Go on.
and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemy.
There it is. See? This was prophesied way before we got to this point. It was spoken by the angel that we read, and the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time. See that? So he spoke this back then. But read on, 18.
And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed,
Go on.
because thou hast obeyed my voice.
We have done what?
Obeyed my voice.
Obeyed his voice. So when it says all of the nations, now this puts to rest, now underline the word all the nations. All the nations of the earth. Now, why is that so important? Because it lets you know that in the kingdom age, when Israel is back in control, that all of the different nations are going to be blessed because of us. Not because of them, because of us. They're going to prosper like they've never prospered before. And will there be the odd shenanigans who will try to rough tail their way and say, I'm not going to give them nothing? That's okay. Because the spirit of discernment will be upon us. And we will know who you are. Come on. But let's read on. Let's read.
So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba.
Go on.
And Abraham dwelt at Beersheba.
At Beersheba. Go on.
And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she has sworn, also born Salah. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she has also borne children unto thy brother Nahor.
Go on.
Whose his firstborn, and Buz his brother, and Kemuel the father of Aaron.
Read.
And Chesed, and Hazor, and Pildash, and Jitlah, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. These 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother. And his concubine, whose name was Rumah, she bore bear to Tebah, and Gaham, and Thahash, and Machah.
So these are the relatives of Abraham. So I would circle that or highlight it and put the relatives of Abraham. Come on? Now let's get into the nitty-gritty now. But things are now about to change. Let's jump to chapter 23 and verse 1. Read.
Genesis 23 and 1. And Sarah was 107 and 27 years old.
Go on.
These were the years of the life of Sarah.
Read.
And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, the same is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the son of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place, which you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight.
Read.
And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord, thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thy dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land,
Go on.
even to the children of Heth.
Now, was that a wrong thing for him to do? Think about it before you answer it. Read that again.
And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land.
Okay, was that a bad thing for him to do? Because remember, sometimes we read these things and we don't understand where is it coming from, what's behind it. Was it a bad thing for him to do? Getting quiet in here now.
Probably respecting their culture.
Say again?
Respecting their culture. Whatever they believe something different.
Well, no. When he got up, read it one more time, sir.
Genesis 23 and 7. And Abraham stood up
He stood up
and bowed himself,
and he did what?
bowed himself
He bowed himself, go on,
to the people of the land.
to the people of the land. Now, yes, go ahead.
What I noticed is that they consider him their Lord.
Correct.
So he's bowing, I guess, showing that he's no mightier or no.
Correct. Jump back to the verse where it says you are a prince or you are something among us. Let's see.
Genesis 23 and 6.
Go ahead.
Hear us, my Lord.
My Lord. Go on.
Thou art a mighty prince among us.
See. So you are right. In him bowing himself back to them, he was giving them obeisance and thanking them at the same time. Now remember, there are 3 stages of bowing. Who can tell me what those are? Again, we don't want to skip these things, but again, these are things we run through if people don't understand the meaning behind it. There are 3 stages of bowing. What are they? Can you tell me, please? Anyone? All right, yes, sir, go ahead.
Grace and peace.
Grace and peace.
One is the greeting, when they would come together, they would bow when each other like and do this. The other one is an act of obeisance.
So one is a greeting where you bow to someone that you're meeting, maybe for the first time. Go on.
The other is like an act of obeisance, and that's when they get down on their faces before people.
All right. So act of obeisance when you get down, how?
Like on the faces before people. Like
All right, onto the ground.
onto
Right.
the ground.
Specifically. Right. Okay.
And here is like a sign of respect.
And do what?
Here's like what Abraham just did, but showing a sign of respect.
Yes, it was. All right. Okay. And anyone else can elaborate more on that? You've told me some. You haven't really told me in the order that I need. But you've done well. I always give marks for attempting. Because if you don't attempt nothing, you won't know nothing. So you have to try. Anyone else? Anyone? Go ahead.
I was thinking it would be more of like you bow your head, you bow at your waist, and then you bow.
Say that again.
You bow at your head,
Right.
your waist, and then as Brother Isaiah said, at your feet. You know, like getting down on the ground and being supine on the ground.
Come. The 3 stages of bowing is first to bow your head. You haven't bowed your body, you haven't bent your body, you just bowed your head. That's a sign of respect. Now remember, what we're talking about, even to this very day, the Chinese and the Japanese still do it. To this very day, they still keep that up. Because that action comes from their forefathers. And remember, Ammon and Moab come out of the bloodline of the Abrahamic relatives. Right? So that was endemic of them. This is what they did. And remember that when the angels came to Abraham the first time, he bowed his head to the ground. That's the 3rd position, by the way. That's the height of obeisance. You bow to the ground because you're showing complete reverence and respect to this person. Because you consider them to be something above you. Head bowing is number 1. The second area is to bow from the waist on down. Now, some do it where their hands go down to before their knees as they're bowed down. So it's complete bow, head and body. That's also great respect. But the greatest of them all is when you fall to the ground, and you bow to the ground before them. Now, there's a respect that's even higher than all of those. What is that when you bow your head to the ground, to the dirt? What's that? Yes. No. So there's one that is greater than all of those. Absolutely not. Kiss the feet of the person. When they kiss the ground, usually that's a sign of great respect to return home. When we return home, you understand? Getting done. Thank you, Yehovah Hashem. We kiss the ground. This is our land. We're back. Oh yeah. So, but to bow to the ground, and then to kiss the feet, oh, that's a sign of complete reverentialness. And that is recorded in the book of Revelation, chapter 3 and 9. My memory serves me right. Quickly, let's go there. Revelation 3 and 9. Yes, sir.
You could also say that's like surrender.
Yes, it is a surrender, absolutely, because you're at your most vulnerable. See, so we're going to read Revelations 3 and 9, and then we're going to jump to Revelation 49 to understand the rest of it. Go ahead.
Revelation 3 and 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not.
Okay, those are the Ashkenazis. Go on.
But do lie.
But do lie. Go on.
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet.
Before thy feet. You can drop that. Go to Isaiah 49:22. Isaiah 49:22. Let's read.
Isaiah 49 and 22.
Just to cut to the chase for the time, jump to 23.
Isaiah 49 and 23. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers.
Go on.
They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth.
See, go on.
And lick up the dust of thy feet.
See that? Right, you can drop that. Let's go back. So to our brother here. Right. So let's read some again. 23 and 7.
Genesis 23 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land.
Right. So that bow was not necessarily a belly bow. That was like a head bow. See? So and for the people of the nation, it showed them that even though he was greater than them in terms of his wealth, it showed them that he respected them. And that's why they were willing to do anything for him. Now this verse here is making a lot more sense than in times past. Let's read on.
Even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, if it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat for me to Ephron, the son of Zohar.
Listen carefully now, read.
That he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he had, which is in the end of his field.
Go on.
For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it to me for a possession of a burying place among you.
Go on.
And Ephraim dwelt among the children of Heth. And Ephraim the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying,
Go on.
Nay, my Lord, hear me. The field give I thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee. In the presence of the sons of my people give I it thee. Bury thy dead.
Read. What's this now?
And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land.
Go on.
And he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying,
Now, here's what you do. What type of bowing did he do at this point? Solomon, I haven't heard from you, Doctor.
Con.
What's going on? Come on. All right, let's read.
And he spake unto Ephraim in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field.
All right, so let's not go too far. Now, what type of bowing did he do in verse 12? Anyone? Before you? Yes, ma'am. And what? A complete bow. I'll say to you, why do you say that?
In verse 11, they say, basically saying, "Oh my Lord, hear me, the king I give you, and the king." Basically, that whole verse, right, setting in the stone of it, or
All right. I'll come back to you. Yes, Rebecca, let me hear you.
I won't say a complete bow, but I would say because the key word is bow down himself.
Correct. So you're both right. Now let me explain why. Back in verse 7, read it again, please.
Genesis 23 and 7. And Abraham stood up.
There it is. He stood up.
Con.
Now he could have did a waist bow, but that wasn't what he was doing at the time, because obviously he's selling himself in a way. He don't give it all in one go. So he stood up and he bowed his head to them. Sign of distinction. Now the conversation is going on now. But watch this. They're now in a seated position. Because if you gather the understanding of it, they're in a seated position. They're all seated on the ground. They're gathered around, speaking to them. The likelihood is that maybe even some water or some juice of some description or goat's milk was exchanged. They're talking. Now watch what he does. When they say, we will give it to you, we'll give you the land and the caves. He's so moved by that. It's in a kneeling position, because he already sits it down, right? So he bows himself to them. Now here's the difference between the bow. He bows, and even though it's not tenants there, he's not bowing where his head is to the ground. He's bowing and looking at them. Because all bowing, there is a reason behind it. All bowing. Because this is something that's commonplace back in Europe. In all quadrants, in all societies. It is known how you bow. This distinguishes the position you're in and what you are, how you have on the offering. It's well known. All right. So here he bows now, and as he bows down, they're moved by that. He's moved by it. But read 13 again.
Genesis 23 and 13. And he spake unto Ephraim in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there.
Why does he give money instead of taking it for free? Why? Yes, sir. Person, please.
First is like a covenant, but you don't want down the road.
On the mic.
You don't want down the road anyone. People have to say, you're not like that.
Correct. Correct. Because they could turn around and say, give it back to me. And I said, well, you gave it to me. Well, you didn't pay me for it. It's my land. I can take it back if I want. But no. He knows who he's dealing with. It's all Hamites here. And these are some of the most powerful nations that were around in his day. How do we know that? Because when you jump back up to verse 10, read it.
Genesis 23 and 10. And Ephraim dwelt among the children of Heth.
Watch this, read.
And Ephraim, the Hittite.
Stop. But these were Hittites.
Yeah.
These are part of the greatest, most dangerous nations of their time. Why? These were the ones also who created iron. They had chariots of iron. They had spears of iron. These were strong men. These are no weak Africans. These were the Hamites at their best. But they were like a ruling group of that time. And to prove that, go to Deuteronomy chapter 7. In case anyone has a problem with that. Deuteronomy chapter 7 tells you clearly. Let's read chapter 7, begin at verse 1.
Deuteronomy 7 and 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
So, see, these nations were powerful. Abraham was not among some weakling nations. So he had to use the wisdom of the Most High when dealing with them so that they would not take his life, because they could. He had an untold number of sheep and cattle and camels and donkeys and oxen. He had an untold number. But what did he do? He dealt fairly with them. He would even give them something even when they weren't deserving of it, so that they could never say he didn't do them good. This was a wise man, Abraham. So this quick reading through takes away the substance of who this man is. Now you're getting the substance of who he is. That's why in the annals of our history, we relate to Abraham like he is, like he's a father, meaning we put him even in terms of symbolism like our Father which is in heaven. That's why we have Abraham, we have Isaac, and we have Jacob. Why? Because Isaac now is a type of the son. And Jacob now, we read, the law was given to him. So it's the father, it's the son, and it's the law. Our father, Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham. Isn't it something? So now, when we read this now, we see that this was a great people. Now, when we jump down, he doesn't want no money. He need to pay you for this. Read 14. Now, how am I doing for time? Okay, got to fly here. Let's go.
And Ephraim answered Abraham, saying unto him, My Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver.
Now, if he really wanted to give it to him for free, he wouldn't even have a number in his head. You say, no, look, Abraham, I don't want your money. I don't want your money, Abraham. You know, I don't care how much it is. It's yours. Hey, put your money away. It's no good here. But watch what he said. He says this. So what was it?
15.
Yeah, 15 said, my Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury thy dead. See how it gives a whole different understanding of this man that he's dealing with? Abraham has the wisdom of the Father on him. But read.
And Abraham hearkened unto Ephraim. And Abraham weighed to Ephraim the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heath.
So there were others present when they heard him tell him how much it was. Read.
400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant.
Read.
And the field of Ephraim, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure.
Read.
Unto Abraham.
Now let's understand that term now. When it says to make sure, what does that term basically mean? What does it mean? All right, yes, ma'am?
The way this uses it means to seal the deal.
Yes, seal it, but how? How do you seal it? Cash, no. He's giving cash, he's giving silver. I remember, let's get the word cash out of our mouth, because cash isn't worth, cash, pardon me, it's toilet. No, it is, it's not worth anything. Not worth anything. That's why there's this big upset now because of what the Africans and the Brazilians and the Chinese are coming together to create their own type of situation, because it's backed with gold. Now it's backed with substance, not with an IOU. And cash, basically, at its crux, is an IOU. That's why policemen people go, when you see them on YouTube, they go to catch it. Look at this money. No, you're only throwing around an IOU. Because it really isn't money. It's lost its value. In fact, the value of it was lost in the 1930s when they took away the true value. That's why all those writings about what it can be exchanged for, that was on it, it's all gone now. All this new one has none of that business. Yes, sir.
Sure, when you make sure, in other words, you got a receipt.
You got a receipt. Yeah. Kind of on the same bandwagon as her, but you had your hand up, Isaiah.
Yes, sir. I was trying to figure out, because I know generally they mean they seal deals through blood, but I don't see where the...
No, that's a covenant is sealed through blood. A covenant is sealed through blood. And he wasn't going to make that type of covenant. They're not here. They're not doing that. All right, so yes.
Basically, in Genesis 49 and 32,
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
Jacob is talking about the fact that Abraham did secure the land for him, so therefore he was able to bury everyone else.
Yes, it
So
became a
secure.
family plot.
Yeah.
Right, so it was purchased, so that was right. That's Abraham 49, 40, and 32. But that's not what we want, no. Because it had to be more. Did you just, yes, go ahead.
It says in my Bible that made sure means deeded.
Absolutely. There was a deed. There was a deed. There was an exchange. How was a deed done in those days? It wasn't done on parchment. It wasn't done on paper. That's what parchment is. It was done on skins. It was burnt in on skins. You see, on goat skins or lamb skins. It was burnt in. And then he had to put his own type of mark that was common to him on the seal. And they would roll that up. And they would carry it with them. Some of them they put in horns, in the hollow of a horn, and cover it, so it would be kept, it wouldn't be lost. And sometimes they would dye or paint the horn because it would signify a certain purchase or whatever. Okay, so that's how they did it. It was burnt on a stick. And why was it burnt? They used an iron pencil, burn it in heat, and wrote what they need to write, and give their marking. See, that's how it was done. Now, there's a small point that I didn't want to forget. It's gone now. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When the Hamite told him, asking if they would give him the money, was that a form of
Hold the
trick?
mic up. Hold the mic up.
When the Hamite told him he agreed for the amount of money, was it like a form of trick? It was like a trick.
Trick? No. It wasn't necessarily a trick, but remember, the thing with favors, there is no such thing as a favor. All favors have a cash-in date. Because that person will come back to you and say, but I did you a favor. I did you a favor, so what, you're not going to help me now? Well, guess what you feel like? Obligated. But if it's purchased, then there's no obligation. That's why, if the truth be known, let's say, I'm going to use it. Let's say one of these sisters had one of the brothers come around and help to clean up the back of their yard or the front of their yard, right? A smart sister would never let the brother just do it and let him say, and you go, oh no, you don't need it. No, I insist. It doesn't matter how small the transaction, but give him something. Once you've given that something, that person can never run their mouth and say, I went round to her house and I did this and I did that. Israel, their mouth? No. So a wise woman would say, no, let me give you this. And whilst even the brother's doing it, the wise sister will come out and say, let me give you some juice. Oh, are you hungry? Would you give us something? Oh, I'll bring you out a sandwich. Smart sister. Yeah, that's it. I was all done. Thank you. I'm gonna get going now. And no, just before you go, I want you to accept this. Oh no, I insist that you take it. I really do. No, but I insist that you take it. In fact, if you don't, you will insult me. And those words go on, isn't they? Oh, God,
Yeah, I guarantee you.
it. Maybe burning a hole in his pocket going all the way home. But here's what has happened. She's free from any future obligations that this brother may come up with and run his mouth. Oh, yeah. This is how our people used to act. And it's written throughout the scriptures, you'll see that. Throughout the scripture. In fact, when you get to Laban and Jacob, that's all over there. Because Jacob knew he couldn't trust Laban, so he had to make sure certain things were tied down. Come on? All right, let's finish this because I've only got in fact, I'm not out of time. Let's finish this. Go ahead.
We finished 23, 17, 18, and
23, what were we?
and 17. That was the last one. We made sure. That was the
Okay,
last
all
one.
right, let's read on.
Genesis 23 and 18. Unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of his children of Heath,
Go on,
before all that went in at the gate of his city.
go on.
And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre. And Cain and saying, the same is Hebron in the land of Canaan.
Now, the reasons why this was so important, because it covered the prophecy. Wherever the soles of your feet will tread. And now the body of his beloved wife, who is the daughter and wife of all future Israel. God. What? And the body's there now. So in the future, he has every right to go to that land, because that little portion of land that he bought is his. And how are you going to keep him out of that land? You see the strategy of the Most High God working through Abraham? But let's read.
Before Mamre, the same is Hebron in the land of Canaan.
Go on.
And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heath.
So there was a deed of purchase that was now set up, and no one could ever stop him from going to his land, because he has the right to be in Canaan land. Woo! That's so sweet. Isn't it something? Isn't it something?
It's the same place that David ruled.
Come
In Hebron. He ruled in Hebron.
on. Hebron, and in Hebron was one of the most beautiful places because the palm trees, the cedars, the lakes. I remember when I was young, I used to see film. That was before it's all gone to where it is now. But it showed a beautiful place. It was almost heavenly. And it will be again. Come on. All right. Then close your books. Let's give more praise. All right. So, for you who are here, and we give all praise to the Most High God. I hope that this teaching has been a blessing to you. I pray that you continue to tune in each week and receive the understanding that the Scriptures has set up for us, the nuggets, the gold, and the interesting points of interest that this book has for us, his people, his children. And we're understanding our forefather, Abraham, even better now. Continue to tune in, continue to subscribe, and please like us, give us a thumbs up, give a positive comment if it was edifying to your spirit. And we ask you to invite a friend next week so that they can get some understanding from this teaching also. And bear in mind as well that what you receive here tonight is only a taste of what you will receive on the Sabbath.
to join us again on what the world calls Saturday, which is our Sabbath, and when we dig further into the word of the Most High. On behalf of myself and the family here, we want to say, Wakatayahawa.